Welcome, everybody, to Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles video cast where we talk about all things from the solo years. And of course, the Beatles come up, once in a while. Welcome, welcome. We're glad to be back with you. And I think we've got a really fun topic for tonight. We love doing this periodic series that we have called Another Listen, where we take an album that really wasn't well loved, shall we say, when it first came out. Didn't do well critically and commercially. And we do just what the title says. We give it another listen and decide, did it deserve its initial critical and commercial reaction? And we want to hear from you tonight, too, as to whether you think it did. And tonight we are looking at Ringo Starr's 1978 album, Bad Boy, which Tom and Joe are holding up right now. And so I think we're going to have a great conversation tonight. And you'll notice that Ken Michaels is not
real old.
Yeah, looks a little different tonight.
Hey, but I noticed that
real old.
His background really got spiffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
His background looks a little different. No, he mentioned during the last episode that he was not going to be able to join us tonight. And he is helping his wife. His wife is recovering from surgery. Glad to say she's doing extremely well.
Excellent.
So we're so happy to say that. So we want to send our love and best wishes to continue on the path to recovery. He will be back next time, but we have.
We'll see. Let's see how much fun we have with Al here tonight, and maybe Ken will have to audition to come back or something.
We'll see. We'll see.
Slip you a few bucks.
There you go.
There you go. But yes, we have somebody very special here tonight who is going to, not just cover for Ken. He's a very special friend of our show, and many of you know him. And so I'm going to, before we get going, introduce myself in these bad boys. And so
good.
I had to do it. My name is Kit O'Toole. I am the author of Songs We're Singing, Guided Tours to the Beatles' Lesser Known Tracks, as well as Michael Jackson FAQ, All That's Left to Know About the King of Pop, as well as the co-editor of the new book, Fandom in the Beatles. You may also know me from Beatle Fan Magazine. And let me first introduce my regular co-hosts and good friends. He is the co-host of the very popular Paul McCartney-centric podcast, Two Legs, along with Andy Nichols. He they do a great weekly video series that I guess is coming to an end soon, although I hope you guys
one more to go.
Yeah, one more to go, although I hope you guys will come up with maybe
we've already got tons of ideas, Kit.
Good, because I hate to see the end of it, where they do ranking the tracks, where they rank all different tracks from Paul McCartney's albums, and recently they did one ranking his B-sides, and great stuff. So say hello to Tom Hunyadi. Hello, Tom. How are you doing?
Hello, kids. Welcome back to reality. And Joe and Al, it's always great to see you two.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, he is the host of the very popular YouTube channel, Mean Mr. Mayo, and you find a bit of everything on his channel: comedy, adventures in music collecting. He'll show his collection, but he also takes you along on kind of treasure hunts at flea markets, his local record store, where you also meet some great cast of characters there. And also he has a weekly show called Fab Gab, where he also does ranking the tracks. I'm thrilled. I've been on that show before. It's a lot of fun. So you do want to check it out. So say hello to Joe Mayo. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Kit. And hello, Tom. And hello, our guest, Al. Good to have you back.
And last but definitely not least, our special guest. He has been on the show before. He is the executive editor of Beatle Fan Magazine, as well as the author of Change in Times, 101 Days That Shaped a Generation, which you can find on Amazon. You probably also know him from the Fest for Beatles Fans. In fact, you were with them with that since its conception, right?
The
I
very
mean,
beginning,
from
yep.
the day that Mark Lapidus came up with the idea of Beatle Fest.
Practically, I'm one of the first people he told to about that.
Exactly. So back when it was Beatle Fest, and
Yes.
so if you don't know him from Beatle Fan, you know him from the Fest. And so say hello everybody to Al Sussman. So Al, welcome back. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thank you very much, Kid. And hi Tom, and hi Joe, and hello there everybody. And hi, and if you're watching, hi Ken, and hi Joanne.
All right. Yes, indeed. We're thinking of you guys tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So before we get to our main topic, we always have the news, and this time Al is going to deliver the news tonight. He has been in touch with Ken, and he is so Al's gathered some news, and Ken's also submitted some news items. So Al, take it away. What you got for us?
Okay, and if you can indulge me reading him off of an iPad.
That's okay.
The BBC aired a documentary in May called "A Life in 10 Pictures," John Lennon. It tells the story of John's life through 10 very important and well-known photos, including the only known photo of John and his mother, right up to John signing the autograph for douchebag. We don't use the name.
Yes,
That's right.
Most impressive are the people who discuss his life in those photos, including Mark Lewison, Hunter Davis, Bob Gruen, and Dan Richter. The documentary is currently on YouTube. The newest issue of Goldmine has John and Yoko on the cover with a feature on the new John Lennon Plastic Ono Band box set. In exclusive interviews, Klaus Voormann and other insiders talk about the making of the original album. The issue also reviews an album that Ken's been talking about here, the new album from Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr., Blackbird, Lennon and McCartney Icons. Now we have from the rumor mill.
Hey, my favorite segment.
Things. Absolutely. Steve Hoffman's message board has had some posts indicating that the rumored All Things Must Pass box set, and of course there has been no announcement that there even is a All Things Must Pass box set, but rumors have it that that box set may have an August 6th release date. Now, last week I got an email from Barnes and Noble, which announced that the Get Back book will be published on October 12th. So that may indicate that the rumors that have been relatively rampant of COVID-related production delays in the Get Back film,
right,
may necessitate the another delay. Let's put it that way, another delay in the release of the film, and of course, obviously, whatever audio package is going to be released. So so we have to take all this with a certain amount of grains of salt, but we shall see. And also, Kit, if the date August 6th sounds familiar, that would be the first day of the Chicago fest for Beatles fans, and we were just talking about that before we hit air. And at this point, there's still nothing has been formally decided yet. Mark Lapidus is going through every possibility. All of the requirements, inside, outside,
Right.
masks, unmasked, whatever. Hopefully, we'll get some kind of ruling this week. That would
Right.
be.
Well, Kit, I mean, as someone that lives in Illinois, I mean, have you heard
Yes.
about the restrictions in Chicago? I mean, they still have
Yeah.
the restrictions on like the conventions and stuff like that?
Supposedly June 11th, and then this is what I last heard, June 11th, the restrictions are going to be lifted, although, well, the capacity numbers will be lifted. However, although they then added with restrictions, and I wonder, what does that mean? I mean, does that mean we still wear masks? Does that still mean, still distancing? I don't know. So that's probably what Mark's trying to find out.
You got to figure there's going to be a mad dash for many conventions to get to book what they've had to cancel last year as well. So
exactly.
Oh, sure.
So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of competition to get the space.
And then guests have to travel, I would think. Some guests.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a problem because, especially since there are a lot of guests that are, potential guests that are in England and are, my age or over. Right. And, they might be somewhat reluctant to get on a plane or would not be able to.
Right.
It really depends.
Right.
And also when you mentioned, capacity, what, would it be cost effective to, to have a fest if if they only are, allowing 500 people to stay inside.
Right.
So who knows?
So many factors here.
Yeah, but we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah.
And just one other item, and it's a sad one. Bill Elliott, who was an Apple recording artist and an original member of the Dark Horse band Splinter, has reportedly passed away. Ken passed that on to us today, but I haven't been able to find any kind of corroborating information. But we'll go with Ken's info. George Harrison, for those who are not familiar with Bill, George Harrison produced and played on Splinter's first album, The Place I Love, in 1974. And Bill was the lead vocalist on the Apple single "God Save Us" in the summer of 1971. The song originally was called "God Save Oz" and was written by John Lennon, and he wrote it for to benefit the UK underground newspaper Oz. And there's a version of the original song with John doing the lead vocal, which is on the Lennon anthology. Right on the yes,
that's on the Imagine box set too, I think.
Yes, as well as the Lennon anthology. That's true. Exactly. So assuming the reports are correct, unfortunately, Bill Elliott is another part of the story has passed on.
That's a shame.
Another part of history.
Right. To go back to that "All Things Must Pass" real quick. I mean, there has been posts or leaks, if you will, showing track listings. Another leak is saying that it's going to be announced this Thursday. So another leak is that there's going to be a mega, hundreds of dollars, McCartney deluxe size worth of a box set as well, that could be well over $600. So apparently, so from what I'm hearing, there's going to be plenty of variations for everybody to pick from. So nothing has changed in that camp. I would gather. because I mean, not everybody can, you know, afford the mega sets, and not everybody wants everything to begin with.
Like me.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's going to be interesting to see. You know, obviously, you know, we've heard snippets over the years from bootlegs and early takes. These you know, raw, stripped down, you know, demos from George. You know, recording All Things Must Pass, and I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
You know,
Me
I think
too.
there's some of his
Yeah.
better, you know, some of his best vocals too
Absolutely.
are on these stripped down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
we'll see. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just have to say, Al Wesley Wennerstrom says, love the ticket display on the wall behind Al. So,
Oh yeah,
Right.
this is a Steiner Steiner Sports, which is
Right.
actually normally a sports memorabilia company out of New York. A couple of years ago, they put out a series of Beatles creations, and this one is has reproductions of tickets for most of the shows on the
Shows.
'64 tour,
Okay.
and I've got one across the way, which is of photos from the Revolver sessions
Oh, cool.
that Steiner also did.
Ah.
Oh, wow. And I also just want to give a shout out here to Candle and Han. You probably didn't know her,
yes.
Al? Yep.
Hi, Candlin.
Yeah, she's a longtime Chicago fester,
Absolutely.
and a fellow Chicagoan, and she says, very excited to hear this. Where else is this Ringo album going to be discussed? That's right, only on Talk More Talk.
You know it.
Candlin, so glad that you're tuning in. Really glad to see you. Before we get to that main topic, Tom, you've got a little show and tell.
Show and tell. Yeah, this is a segment I like to call, let's see if we can get Joe to spend more money on things that he didn't want to buy to begin with.
Yeah, not this time. I don't think. I didn't order them.
Right. But these are the 4 of the 500 different variations of McCartney stamps you can get from the Royal Mail or Royal Press, whatever it's called. But I finally got a couple in the mail last week, so I was really excited to get them, to see what they would look like, and they really didn't disappoint because they come in this nice little folder here. You got the page, you can lift it up, and just a protector, and it's nice little sheet. And then I got the one that has the Ram album on it. You can see there. I also got the one that has McCartney 3. So there you go. You can see that as well. Trying to get rid of the glare there. Obviously, it's still a sheet with the album cover, and you got 4 stamps down below, or sorry, 5 stamps down below. No, 4. Duh, I can't talk right now. This is my favorite. I like this one a lot because it's got all the, well, not all of them, but all the ones that they were going to do for this series, the album covers here.
Nice, like nice presentation.
Yeah, no, really nice job here. And then lastly, this one has all the stamps together that they were offering here in one set. So not only is it the album covers, but it's also images of Paul during the time of each of those album covers.
Nice.
So we see Paul and Wings in the desert for the Venus and Mars, so all different kinds of photos during those times, and I like them so much I bought some more.
Hey, why not?
Yeah,
exactly. Bruce Bernath asked, how do you get them?
I can put the link up on our Talk More Talk page, but it's, if you just put the Royal Mail in Google, Google McCartney stamps. Really, Royal Mail, and hopefully you can find them there. I've only seen of the 30 plus variations that they have. I think I only saw one that's now out of stock or print or whatever like that. So still plenty to go around. Prices are reasonable. However, you got to remember now there's an exchange. You're paying pounds here, so you got to configure the exchange rate as well.
Yeah.
So
excellent.
But I really like what I saw here, and like I said, I mean, I thought they were done very well. Probably a little bit better than the Lennon stamps, but this was a little more effort was put into this series. But yeah, good job.
Yep. Nice presentation, as I said. Yeah, beautiful. All right, thank you, Tom, and thank you, Al, for the news. That was great. A lot of stuff coming up, and and a lot of
That's for sure.
lot of action for the wallet. So
Yeah,
so
This is true.
get ready, everybody.
Yes.
All right, so now our main topic, which as I can tell from the comments here, everybody is pretty excited about, another listen of Bad Boy.
And if I can just say, interrupt,
oh,
it's funny. The one we did, another listen of Ringo the Fourth, was
Right.
one of our most popular shows.
Yeah,
it was.
exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So so we'll see how if this is as popular as Ringo the Fourth. These are albums that this and Ringo the Fourth were definitely not beloved when they first came out. Just a quick background, although from the comments we're seeing, a lot of you are obviously already familiar with it. This was a period of time in Ringo's career that was definitely part of a downward time. He was struggling with alcoholism, as many know. He was, though, trying to revitalize his career. He was actually coming off of Ringo the Fourth, and he had been trying with that and with his collaborator Vinnie Poncia. They had tried to capitalize on the disco trend a bit on that album, and obviously didn't really work. And so they wisely, for this album, decided to kind of go back to the Ringo's roots, rock and roll roots. And so they pared down to kind of a core group of collaborators, and they certainly did come up with some great musicians. I mean, Dr. John, you can't go wrong with him.
No slouches, really.
Yeah, no slouches. I mean, Lon Van Eaton, I think, was on here.
Jimmy Webb.
Jimmy Webb,
great songwriter. Dee Murray on bass from the Elton John band. Yep.
So I mean, some solid musicians here. Leaned pretty heavily toward other outside songwriters, covers, and a couple were co-written with Ringo and Vinnie Poncia.
Literally
yes.
a couple.
Yes,
just a couple. Exactly. The sessions were held over just 10 days in Vancouver and the Bahamas. And then, of course, there was a publicity push, although it was mainly through the TV special, which we have also covered in a previous episode, and it was really campy 70s kind of fun. We had fun doing that episode, but alas, didn't work. The album did not chart very well. I believe it was
129.
Yep,
right.
129.
And that was in the U.S.
I don't think it
UK.
even charted in the UK.
No, it didn't.
There were I think there was Lipstick Traces on a Cigarette was released as a single, Heart on My Sleeve, and in the UK only Tonight was released as a single backed with Heart on My Sleeve. And none of them
charted.
None of them charted. And some of the interviews he did during that time, they're pretty infamous. You can find them on YouTube. I mean, he was just way into alcohol, and it was, not a good time. And,
Kit, there was a quote that I found where Ringo supposedly said, most of the time you have musicians dabbling in drugs. Well, we were junkies dabbling in music.
Yeah.
At this time.
It was,
to show you where he was at. He just wanted to be out of there, and a lot of Beatles reunion talk at the time. And
yes,
I think he just was disinterested, not as much into it.
Yeah, and you can even tell. We talked a little bit about this in that Ringo special episode we did, where even in the outtakes, he just seemed kind of like checked out. I mean, you could just tell. And so that was that. And I believe he was dropped by the record. Was he dropped by the record label after this?
No, before.
Oh, it was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was dropped by Atlantic.
Atlantic. And
right.
then he was dropped by Portrait in the U.S.,
Portrait.
Polydor in
After
the
this,
England.
after this
Yeah.
album,
Yeah.
yeah, after this.
After
So
this
yes.
album, yeah.
So it was definitely not the comeback he had hoped for,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it wouldn't happen for some time after. So, did this album deserve the reception that it got? So that's what we are going to look at tonight. So let's first, and we want all of you out there to take part in the discussion. We're going to get through as comments as we can. If we don't get to them all tonight, don't worry. We read the comments after the show, so we will not ignore them. So let's first talk about what did we. Well, actually, let's back up. Al and Joe are the only ones here that remember when this album came out. I was 6 years old, so I don't. And so Al, let's start with you. What were the expectations what were there, like, with the television special? Was there like a lot of hype around this album? Do you remember were there expectations?
Well, one further problem was that even though the album came out in April in England, where the TV show didn't air for like 5 years.
I think 81.
Yeah,
something like
that.
Yeah.
But in the U.S., the special was on toward the end of April, and the album wasn't released until about 2 months later. So that was strike one against it, and then coming off, I should add, I actually have a rather different opinion than you guys had of Ringo the Fourth. I think it's very possibly the worst album that any of the four of them have ever put out in their, in the 50 some years of the
you wouldn't be alone in that statement.
Yeah.
I think Old Wave is worse, but that's me.
It's close. And there's a couple on Old Wave, there are a couple of songs that kind of vindicated a bit, but so the expectations were not great, to be honest, and it's not a terrible album in the way that that Ringo the Fourth was, but it's not great. And that was my reaction when I first heard it back in 78. See what Joe's reaction was.
Yeah, Joe, how about you when you first got it?
Well, I was really getting heavily into all things Beatles by then. I had been like around 76. I was getting into it really heavy, and that included solo Beatles really around this time. I was that year I had turned 16. I was in high school, and looking forward to the Ringo TV special, which I saw and enjoyed. And Ringo was promoting this. He was on the Mike Douglas show, and I remember that's a fun appearance. That really is a lot of fun. And he did Donahue and stuff like that, and he was really trying, to do his best. He was entertaining as always, and I was excited. Like a lot of our young fans we have now out there, like Hudson Randy, for example, who were in their teens, early or mid-teens. I'm just starting out with the solo stuff. In fact, I think this is a dishonor, I guess, but I think the Bad Boy album might have been the very first, I'm not 100% sure, very first solo Beatle album that I bought with my own money.
Oh, wow.
That was when I say that, I mean like a new album. I think I had already previously started with Shaved Fish and Blast from Your Past, I think, when they were new, pretty much, or new, pretty new. But this was, I think, was the first one. And at the time, it was, I didn't really like it much. Maybe a couple of songs. I thought it was subpar. But I was just starting to get into, like, I want to dabble into everything with the solo Beatles as well. And that was, as I say, that was the first Ringo album offering at about this time that I was really getting into it. And yeah, didn't really think much of it at first. You know, it took some time over years for me to hear it again and again and again, so forth. I didn't think that. I guess I'd describe it as the album didn't sound like in touch to me with what was really going on in the music scene in
Bingo.
1978. Yeah, you know, it's funny because you had all kinds of different things that were happening.
Yeah.
It was more variety and versatility on the radio and stuff, but yet this still didn't sound contemporary or anything to me. I don't know what they were going for, lounge music or whatever. I thought as
Yeah.
as you know, when I was younger anyway, I wasn't ready for it. That's pretty much my first impression.
So
Yeah, there
Al,
were two.
you were agreeing it didn't sound contemporary.
Because what Joe was saying is right on the money, because there were basically two musical genres that pretty much dominated that year. One was because that was, of course, the year Saturday Night Fever and Studio 54 and blah blah blah, and so disco was so huge. But also, you know, kind of the American coming out of punk and new wave.
New wave, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And this was neither camp.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't even think that they're always talking about how, I guess you think disco-y Ringo the Fourth had been. I think it's the closest thing we could get to disco, and just bits of it that disco-y. But you would think this would be more of a full-fledged disco album.
Yeah.
Ringo the Fourth, I think, was more of a disco kind of sounding record.
Well,
to
that's
me,
what I'm saying.
This one just sounds more like the early '60s before, you know, the British explosion took off. You know, you got your horns, you know, and it's more kind of like maybe R&B sounding than it is hard rocking, which again, rock, your plain old rock and roll was still popular back, then too, and that didn't appeal to and that wasn't this either, so I'm sure that didn't appeal to the rock and rollers at the time either.
Not at all.
Yeah, good point. Yep, and I think there's some defenders of old wave in the comments here.
Bet.
So
I fully admit I'm alone in that. I love "She's About to Move Her." I think that's one of the best covers Ringo ever did. He's having a blast in that. And I like a couple of other songs too, but it's my least favorite, maybe Ringo album.
In My Car.
Yeah.
In My Car's good. Joe
Hopeless,
Walsh.
I like.
Yep.
It's fun. Hopeless is fun.
Yeah.
So
those are the ones I name all the time. Those three.
So we may have to do an old wave show in the future.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start by talking about the positive aspects of the album as we listen to it once again. So Tom, let's start with you. What do you like about this album? What are the positives?
What do I like about this album? I like the musicians that he has on this album are, again, like we said, they're top notch. But when you first got this album, you didn't know that because you got lead guitar, you got Push Alone here on lead guitar, you got Diesel on bass, you got Morris Lane on keyboard, you got guitar on rhythm guitar. I mean, so the song, the credits on the album are they don't list the actual people's names that play on this album.
Really annoying.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So you didn't really learn until later on, or even if you knew who they were during the Ringo special, because you see some of those guys there at the end when he does those 3 songs. But other than that, there's honestly, I don't really think there's a lot to love. I've always said these songs are fine, but there's no magic here, I don't think. And I'll get to that when we talk about things that we don't necessarily like and why I think there's no magic on here. But to be honest with you, 10 songs, that's great. It's a short album. It's good.
Yes, it is.
It's 32.
Ooh.
I'd listen to it over driving rain any day, my
It's
friend.
32 minutes. Actually, okay, I'll tell you what. I mean, a handful of the covers are really good. I enjoyed some of the covers that he picks. Tonight for me is I think one of the best covers he's ever done. Monkey See, Monkey Do is I think is a great cover as well. Hard Times I think is is a good cover. But other than that, I mean, just some of the covers that he picks I think are fine, but they're not the best songs that he's picked to cover in throughout his solo career, in my opinion. So Bad Boy, it's fine, but you just needed to get rid of that oi 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 oi.
Yeah, that's
Well,
annoying.
yeah, but I didn't realize. I mean, when I first heard it, I thought it was ridiculous. But
Yeah.
now I know it's a well, at the time I wasn't thinking when I was younger, but
Sure.
it's a cover, and I've heard other versions of it, and that's just the way it goes. So I mean, I'm okay with it. I love it now.
Right.
It's not his best cover for sure.
Right.
Right. But I
And
enjoy
like
that.
you said, I mean, 8 of the 10 are covers. There's only
Right.
Starkey Poncia written tracks on here, co-writes. So,
But it's interesting, if I may, out of the 10 songs, I like 9 of them.
okay.
Now, I mean, I said in the beginning I wasn't fond of it. I've become very fond of this album. I like it now. You didn't ask, but I'm just
No,
bouncing
that's
off.
good. No, and this is
And,
yes, defend the album. What
well,
do you
yeah.
I do think we know that Ringo, by his own admission, was disinterested. He said just wanted to go home and rather than be there. He did the album because he kind of had to. He wasn't really committed. But I thought on this particular album, if anything, I think he sounds a little more invested than Ringo the Fourth, for example, which may not be saying much, because he really even sounded drunk on some of the Ringo the Fourth songs.
Yes.
And I like just about, like I say, the only song that I personally, and it's completely subjective, whatever you feel yourself, but Old Time Relovin' is probably my least favorite track on here, and that's one of the 2 Poncia Starkey tracks, the originals. I have a memory of the Bad Boy track, if I may. About this time, I had a stepfather, and he wasn't a Beatles fan at all, and I had made an A to Z Beatles and solo Beatles tape, and he indulged me by playing it in the car. And when Bad Boy came on, I was a little embarrassed, and as soon as it started, he says, "Oh, Bad Boy." Like he knew that's how. The first time I knew. I didn't even read that it was back then that it was a cover song. He knew the song, so he liked that one because of that. So yeah, that's a story for you. And I don't know. I just have fun. I'm looking at the songs here. Lipstick Traces with the horns. We talk about this all the time. I like horns, brass, synthesizers that sound like horns. Heart on My Sleeve, which was featured on the TV show. It's one of the songs. The strings on it I like, and the lyrics. Again, this is not an original. This one, this is a cover, Heart on My Sleeve. But I like the songs, and I relate to some of them. I wear my heart on my sleeve a little too much, I think, in my life. And Hard Times is a real good rocker that I think was also done on the TV show.
Yeah,
he's on the drum kit doing that. Yeah, it's fun. Monkey See, Monkey Do is fun. A Man Like Me, which was originally from Scouse the Mouse. He originally sang A Mouse Like Me, right? And he changed it to a Man Like Me. So I have fun with him. I accept it now, and I not just accept it, but I enjoy it. But that's over decades of listening to it. Doesn't work for every album. Not every album has hit me on repeat listens, but this one I just have fun with it. Again, the same excuse, if you like, I always use. It's just Ringo, and from Ringo I expect less. I just want to have a good time. His charming, schmaltzy personality, and do I enjoy myself? This album I do. I think it's better than by a good margin than Ringo the Fourth that came before it.
Yeah.
Tonight, I love the song Tonight. Didn't know for a long time it was a Small Faces cover.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. And I have some like things I want to say if you want to talk about what we don't like about some of the songs.
Oh yeah, that's coming next. Yep.
You know,
that's coming next.
Come on, let it go. Let it rip, Al.
Yeah. All right, Al.
Okay. Well,
this is what we like. This is what we like. Yeah.
Probably the three songs that I probably like the best on the album are actually the 2, 3, and 4 songs on side 1. That's Bad Boy,
right?
Which as Joe mentioned, is a cover the group called the Jive Bombers did in 1957, and then Lipstick Traces, which Ms. R&B over here can probably give you the entire resume of covers of Lipstick Traces, right?
Yeah. Well, and of course that's the great Alvin Toussaint.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And yeah, that's a great tune. I mean, I don't, and Ringo's version is it's fun. It's a fun version. I mean, it's not the best, but it's fun. I mean, and it's and you can't go wrong with Alan Toussaint. What can you say?
Exactly.
And may I interject one that I somehow forgot? The opening track, "Who Needs a Heart." I really like that opening. It thumps moderately paced. Tempo. Good feel to it. That's a original by Ringo and Vinnie Pontius. So although I don't like the other one much, Old Time Relovin', I do like the opener, "Who Needs a Heart," that they wrote.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and the other one that that it's probably a favorite is "Heart on My Sleeve," which is a Gallagher and Lyle song. And with Lipstick Traces, it's got that New Orleans R&B groove.
Yes.
I'm sure Dr. John was playing keyboards on there. That back 60 years ago, when I first kind of discovered rock and roll, that was the summer of "I Like It Like That" and a lot of the New Orleans R&B hits that I first kind of really turned on to. But those are probably my three favorites. Hard Times is probably as close to a rocker as there is on this album.
Yep.
So that's that's a positive on what is a pretty shall we say mellow album.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But those are probably the positives.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think Lipstick Traces, I think we all kind of agree on that. Yeah, I definitely think that I love that New Orleans feel, as we've talked about, that great piano from Dr. John. I mean, he was just, what a master he was. I think, and this is something that I positive about this whole album. I think even though, we talk about Ringo being kind of, sounding a little disinterested, he actually was in good voice.
I was going to say, I have that written in my notes.
Yeah. I mean, better than Ringo the Fourth. I mean,
compare it to some of the vocals on Ringo the Fourth, like "Gave It All Up" or something.
That was just painful. Painful to listen to. But no, here he's actually, I mean, vocally he's pretty strong, and this is a good example on Lipstick Traces. And I love the backup singers on this. I mean, it's just a great, kind of 50s kind of soul feel. I like that. I agree with you, Joe, on who needs a. In fact, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't released as a single. I think it should have been. I like the.
Was it a B-side? Not that it mattered. I don't know if I'm thinking it might have been a B-side. But
it was in the UK, I think. I don't know if it was in the US. Probably our listeners viewers can, but wasn't. Yeah, I don't know why. Because I like it. I think I like the horns. We've talked about, how I am about horns.
We agree.
Yes,
I like them.
I won't say it, but you know how I am.
Yeah, I know what you're
real
say.
horns.
Yeah, real horns.
Preferably real.
Yep. And of course, Dr. John's piano. I love there's a kind of a rock and R&B kind of flavor to it. And I thought it had some elements to it that would have been, I think could have gotten some radio airplay at the time, because it had a little bit of like the bass on it had a little slight dance kind of element to it, a little bit of a little disco, but not overly. I mean, not really
Right.
obnoxious. Great lead guitar. I'm assuming that was Lon Van Eaton. And I think and I liked the chorus too. I mean, the backing singers on it just had I don't know. I just thought it had some catchiness to it. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I really like it myself.
Yeah, so I don't know why that wasn't released as a single. And Hard Times, I thought had, again, some catchiness to it, although really unfortunate lyrics. I was drinking in the bar just trying to forget.
I was going to say that's typical like Ringo lifestyle. Then there's even some songs, again, I keep harking back to Ringo the Fourth, about like being in a bar, just trying to forget and all this. And that's why for years I didn't check the credits, and I thought that's got to, I thought it was a Ringo song, because he's saying he's just drinking in a bar, and all this kind of stuff, and it's not. It's a cover.
Yep. I mean, yikes. But it's still, I thought all three of these songs were good fits for Ringo in terms of his range, in terms of his personality. Well, except the drinking part, that's unfortunate. But but I think but those to me were the standout songs, where I thought that those were the more interesting cuts. So there were some highlights on here, but there were some not so great parts. A friend of
actually, did we get Tom's?
Oh my God, Tom! I'm sorry,
Tom.
Oh,
I started.
No, we did. No, we
I started. I was
forgot
just so
Billy
quick.
Preston.
I was just so quick because there wasn't much that I really liked about.
Yeah,
it's
it was
saving
faster.
you. It's saving you.
It was it was a little
Not much.
faster, but but
one track I didn't hear one track mentioned yet. I'm waiting.
Well, that's not what mentioned it just yet.
Oh boy. But yeah, I'm trying to find
Fred,
okay.
let's answer Fred's question here. Bad Boy was reissued from Friday Music, and it's right behind me there.
Blue vinyl.
Well, I got the gold vinyl. You got the blue,
gold as
right?
well. I didn't know that.
Yeah, gold. Yeah. So it has been reissued, and unfortunately, the mouse song, Scouts the Mouse vinyl didn't come with it, unfortunately. But
okay. So I just wanted to give just mention a quote here to kind of kick off the second part of the discussion. This was written by someone that many of you may have read his stuff before, Nick DeRiso. He's a editor at Ultimate Classic Rock. He's written a lot of stuff. We're trying to get him on the show. I'm hoping we will get him on soon. He's written a lot about the Beatles and about the solo years, and he wrote an article about Bad Boy back in 2014. I tracked it down. Yeah, and wrote an interesting piece on it, and talked about how this was supposed to be a comeback, and at one point says it should have worked. Bad Boy was more delightfully idiosyncratic than the sleek dud that preceded it, and the songs certainly were more warmly produced. Unfortunately, there's something essential missing from the studio performances, despite the album-long presence of aces like keyboardist Dr. John, bassist Dee Murray, and guitarist Jimmy Webb. They seem to be inadvertently echoing Ringo's basic detachment.
Right.
So, wanted to kind of kick that off, sort of. So, Al, do you think that rings true? Is that an aspect of the album that
I can give you a good example of that, as a matter of fact? And that's I mentioned the 2, 3, and 4 tracks on side 1. The number 5 track on that side.
He had no
Yeah,
business doing this song.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Where did our love go? Basically sounds. It sounds like, well, okay. The Supremes version is so iconic. It was their
Right.
first #1 record in America, and all. It's so iconic that Ringo's reading of the song pretty much sounded like karaoke.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well said.
and actually, I'll give you a kind of an example of that. This past Friday, I was in the local supermarket. It was National Donut Day, and
Of course.
you're right, of course. So somebody had, I guess, a boombox over in the aisle where they were, boxing up donuts, and I was hearing Diana Ross singing. I'm assuming it's a Supremes cover of the Four Tops. It's the same old song, and okay, Diana Ross's voice is very, you know, again, iconic, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
But it ain't Levi Stubbs.
Right.
So again, it sounded it by comparison, it just didn't do it, and that's certainly the case here with Where Did Our Love Go?
For a minute, I thought you were going to say you heard Diana Ross doing Back Off Boogaloo. I was going to say, what?
Probably not.
So that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, something about Where Did Our Love Go I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
It's corny. Yeah, I like what you say about karaoke. But there's some kind of thing. I don't know if it's the synthesizers. The beginning reminds me of, like, I only can think of it as a spacey, Star Warsy kind of thing, like laser. That fits the times. That part. I mean, that's like
Well,
Star
yeah,
Wars.
that's true.
That part. But yeah, that's. I mean, even though it's one of the least tracks on here, and it's pretty embarrassing in a way, I still have. A blast with it in the context. Listen to the whole album. I can listen to the whole thing because I just look at it as a goof. But yeah, it's not Diana.
It's a goof.
Plus, also, since you mentioned that it's probably the first new solo Beatles album that you would actually ever listen to, it probably has a sentimental attachment.
Well, yeah, but in the beginning, I didn't really like it much at all. Really. So there really isn't that. It isn't that in this case. Although I'm the first to say, in many cases, that is the reason why, a primary reason why I like something. I kind of listened to it a couple of times, didn't like it much at the time, and kind of filed it away, for many years, and didn't go back to it much. Honestly.
Our good friend Tom Brennan, boy, you read my mind, Tom, because I was just thinking that. He said Phil Collins did You Can't Hurry Love after Ringo did Where Do Our Love Go. But at least Phil Collins got the tempo right.
His production was 10 times better. I think.
Exactly. I mean, he tried to emulate the energy.
Right.
But I do get a kick out of Ringo singing, "I've got this Ben and yen," and I love that.
but Al, as a graduate of my Motown course, yes, you don't screw around.
Right. That's
did you graduate? Did you graduate, Al? Congratulations.
Yeah.
A plus. Man! Now
the one other track that I really was disappointed in was Monkey See, Monkey Do, because I was actually familiar with Michael Frank's version because it had gotten a lot of FM play in New York, and again it's just so low key and low energy. It's just, whereas Michael Frank's version is very kind of up, and it's just that's another disappointment here.
I've got more to say about that later too, but I'm going to save that.
Okay.
I'm going to save that until last, but we'll go let's go to Tom. So Tom, Here we go. What did you? Oh, I see a scowl. So I'm.
Well, I mean, here's the
I'm
thing.
saying,
I don't.
have more to
Again, you know,
say.
you've got some very talented musicians, and
Yeah.
you know, Jimmy Webb, Dee Murray, you know, Dr. John, and Van Eaton, like we mentioned, and it's just so basic. These tracks, the arrangement, I think is basic. I don't think there's really anything, you know, exciting. What do we think of Ringo as this exciting drummer, you know, during the Beatle days, and very innovative in a way. And there's nothing really here that's innovated. I mean, I do like, you know, some of the covers that he picked, but I don't think he had any right at all doing "Where Did Our Love Go." I just don't see him. I don't see how he would be comfortable doing this song. There's
Really?
just so many other great, you know, songs out there that he could have covered. I just don't think that's, you know, one of them. And I think Poncia he's no slouch either. I mean, he's produced some very high, and I mean, he produced Kiss's Dynasty record the following year that was a big hit. So you know, so he's no slouch either. You know, there's one thing that's really missing on this record, and I gotta tell you, the beginning of Ringo's solo career took off, and it was because of one person, George Harrison. And it's really a shame that they didn't continue their partnership, you know, throughout, you know, the later second half of the 70s. Yeah, sure, you know, Ringo did "I'll Still Love You" or whatever on what was it, Rotogravure?
Yeah, which didn't help him any in
But
that
they
one.
didn't.
Really.
Well, yeah, and then George ended up suing him for it. But the thing is their partnership, whether George was busy or what, who knows what the reason why that fallout happened. But that magic that those two had together, I mean, every song that they do together is just great, especially on the Ringo album. You know, those are some great tracks, and George adding his touch with whether it's the slide guitar or his, you know, his co-writes on these songs. I really think that was really lacking in George's in the second half of the 70s for Ringo was that partnership. You know, not having John or Paul on this. Now, I know you don't want to always, you know, rely on these three individuals for help. You know what I mean? But, you know, one song here and there is fine. I also feel this album was rushed. You know, like what I think it was Kit that you said took 10 days to record.
It sounds.
Come on.
Well, the Beatles did theirs in a day. I mean,
No. This is not the Beatles.
It's not about time. It's about the result.
Yeah.
You could do it in a day. It could sound fantastic. It could take 3 months.
This is not the Beatles. I mean,
it's not. Let's not treat it as such.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You know. So again, that there, I think that that kind of, you know, didn't help the album out, and I think this came out not far long enough after Ringo the Fourth. I think it was less than a year.
Yeah.
You know, less than a year. And I think, now one thing that I really think he should have done too was just maybe take a year off. You know, I think one of the great things in Ringo's career was that he did, you know, we know he did those two first solo albums, but he did a single, and then an album. You know what I mean? Kind of like, you know, lead into, you know, his solo career. And I think that, you know, he should have, you know, followed suit again. Maybe after Goodnight Vienna, he takes a year off or something like that. Don't rush these albums. You know, you don't want to really necessarily ruin a good thing. If you can't continue to have all these great people on your records, you know, maybe not make the record. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, but, you know, in all fairness, he did wait 4 years or so, like approximately, for Old Wave after this, and it didn't even get released.
Well, yes, but he wasn't getting signed, and nobody was out to sign him either.
Signing him,
you know what I mean? So I mean, if he's getting dropped left and right from his record labels, then obviously, he's not going to put out a record. You know what I mean? So I mean, obviously, I've said that there's some songs on here that I really like. Like I said, I love his version of Tonight. You know, I like, you know, I do like Monkey See, Monkey Do. I do like those three songs that you mentioned too, Joe and Al. But you know, I think there's more wrong with this album than there is right, unfortunately.
All right. Okay, Joe, we've been
And
Beating
Fred,
this up
thank you
pretty good.
for Fred for that wonderful comment from the Ruddles. The first album took an hour, the second even longer.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yep. Oh, and Fred mentioned George was in the TV special. That's true.
Right,
So
right.
George,
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a few
Yes.
things. I mean, I mean, look, nobody's going to
So-
say this is a classic. Even
Yeah.
though I enjoy it for what it is, it's not a
Yeah.
class, not one of his best or a classic by any means. But I mean, things you could like jump on anything. Like I could say, well, then after Old Wave, it took 9 years to do Time Takes Time, which I think is his next best record after Ringo.
Agreed.
I think
Right.
that's a fantastic
Yeah.
comeback
Agreed.
album and didn't show it at all.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
so unfair.
It shouldn't
So
have taken
unfair.
9 years though, because he was recording an album prior to, as we know.
Chips
Yeah.
Smallman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, I'm just nitpicking because I mean, I know good point. Tom, you made a lot of sense with that with George Harrison. Didn't really think about it. I mean, Ringo's had other songs, not pertaining to the Beatles involvement that I've liked, but yeah, of course, that was a big factor, like you said, in the earlier ones. Not so much later because I mean, Pure Gold.
Yeah.
I like it, but those didn't do anything really in Road of
Mhm.
Gravure. And also, even when he did Rack My Brain, George wrote Rack My Brain,
Right.
which I thought was a good
like
pop
that
single
Right. Yeah. So do I.
for Ringo, a good Ringo
Yeah.
pop single. And I like that album too, which we'll get to
His
one
last
day.
top
But
40 hit.
and Private Property and Attention, I'm sorry I missed. There was a two-leg show
Yeah.
that you did with Andy where I didn't catch that. Well, you must have talked about Private Property, the song,
Right.
and
Mhm.
I don't know about Attention also, maybe.
Yep. Mhm.
And those Paul McCartney songs there, Attention and
Right.
Private Property, that really didn't elevate
They did.
his
Yeah.
luck.
Exactly.
By then, I guess there was a point where, and that's a show that I know we've talked about doing. Why all of a sudden did Ringo just lose it?
Yeah, and part of it, I think that he should have just, if he rushed things. I think, I think maybe he should have taken a year off here and there instead of putting out subpar product, which I think he probably knew was subpar. I mean, record a song, every couple months, and but just pick the ones that are the strongest. I mean, obviously, again, there's great artists on these songs, but they're following I think they're phoning it in, really. Myself,
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
unfortunately.
feel it too much on this album, but it's just my opinion. I felt it on the last album more, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Well-
think with Atlantic, he was kind of forced into doing like one album each year.
Yeah,
You know, because
That's what I was wondering, if
right.
this was to
Yeah.
fulfill contracts.
Contract,
that-
Exactly. Yeah.
that maybe that's why he was cranking them out.
Right.
You
And
know,
then
that-
when after Ringo the Fourth tanked the way it did, they dropped him,
Mhm.
and then he ended up
Yeah.
with Portrait.
Right.
Yep, exactly. So, well, yeah, I definitely, had some issues. So, Monkey See, Monkey Do. I'm a
Yep.
big Michael Franks fan.
Mhm.
I've seen him in concert. I met him once, and I this to Michael Franks fans. Ringo's version of Monkey See, Monkey Do is a sacrilege. It's not
Mhm.
good
Yeah.
because,
It's true.
probably they thought, oh, the lyrics are cute, and
Mhm.
so this will be great for Ringo, if that's his personality. And well, I mean, this is more jazz, and the way
Yeah.
Michael does these lyrics, I mean, it's almost a little like scatting. I mean, it's
Yes.
you have to have a jazz background to
Mhm,
deliver
yeah.
these lyrics, and Ringo just doesn't. Not his fault. I mean, it's not his
Yeah.
fault, but it's just his phrasing was really awkward, and he just he
And
just
low
can't-
energy.
and low energy, and the whole thing, and the arrangement was just wrong. I mean, it's just, it's jazz, and
I'd never heard Monkey See, Monkey Do before this version.
yeah,
And still, though, it happens to be probably my next to last. If I was going to rank them,
yeah,
after
yep,
Old Time Relovin', this is probably my next to last
yeah.
least.
When you hear the original, like that's how it's supposed to, be done.
Right.
And yeah, so the first time I heard that and along with Where Did Our Love Go, I just thought, oh no.
Yeah.
Old Time Relovin', I don't like that track either. It just and there are other, it's kind of like other tracks on the side. It just doesn't go anywhere. And maybe that's what kind of goes back again to the low energy aspect. I mean, it just that song, it's just, and it almost like at the end of Old Time Relovin', it's almost like Ringo just kind of drops out and it's like, oh, let's just jam for a while. And then it just goes, and like they didn't know where to go with it. And they're like, okay, we'll just jam for a while. Okay, fade out. I just, I mean, they just didn't seem to know where they wanted that song to go. There was this, and that just was kind of characteristic, except for those 3 songs that I mentioned. That was kind of characteristic of a lot of that album for me. But it wasn't, I'm not saying it was all horrible. And as I said, his voice was good. I mean, on the whole, I mean, better shape than on Ringo the Fourth.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah, our friend Gary Wilbur brought up a good point. A country album in the late 70s instead of Ringo the Fourth and Bad Boy, that would have been a good idea. I think, country was becoming more mainstream in the late 70s. Maybe that would have, caught some acceptance, especially in, the South or Texas, I mean, the areas. I mean, you could have got some appeal on that too, because like I said, it was getting more and more popular there in the late 70s and early 80s.
It is country stuff.
People have wanted him to do that for a while. Been suggesting that, and I think that "Give More Love" was going to start out as a country. It started out as it was going to be a more country-esque album, if I remember correctly, and then it kind of fell apart. I think Ringo said it, but he had. What is that one for so long? Wrong for so long. Was on there, which is country-esque. And there's another one too that I can't. Is it Standing Still? Maybe there's another song there that's country-esque. I thought I remember Ringo saying, "Well, this was going to be country." That it didn't. I thought I remember hearing that. For "Give More Love."
Yeah, I think that does sound vaguely familiar.
But Ringo's voice, I mean, it goes good with country. Most
very much so.
Yeah,
so,
and he loves country. I mean, and that the wonderful duet he did with Buck Owens too. That's a delight. I mean, it really is.
And Bo Cool Blues. When you talked about the amount of time for recording, he did that in 2 days.
That's amazing.
And I love that album.
Though, I mean, you get the professionals in that field that recorded the album. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Jordanaires.
Even it was it was quick, but the effort that went into that was priceless.
Yes,
in my opinion.
Exactly.
Tom Brennan mentions Kenny Rogers was very popular at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Richard Cotwin said it would have had to have been a contemporary country album to be popular. Like Kenny Rogers was.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Was the Chips Moment album a country flavored routine?
I think so.
He had "I Can Help" on there. Billy Swan. Was Billy Swan? "I Can Help" was one of the ones he did.
Yeah.
There's a version of that going around. You can hear Ringo singing "I Can Help." Which I think is a good song for Ringo to do.
Oh, perfect song for Ringo to
work.
do.
That would work for him. Absolutely. But yeah, that's that'd be fun. Yeah, I like his. Maria Lynn doesn't like his country stuff. And actually, I mean, I'm not the world's biggest country fan, but Ringo can pull it off. I like his stuff.
Ringo, I want to say one thing. Ringo, I love the title track, Bukus of Blues, and I like a couple of others. But I recently, within the last year or so, gave that another chance after a long time. And it's an album that a lot of people say is growing really good in stature. People are appreciating it. Me, personally, although I think Ringo is well suited and he's got some real talent behind him and he sounds good in those songs, after a while, I was getting a little bit bored with the repetition of it. I don't know. On my last listen. So I really love the title track a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's some great stuff on there. So speaking of
$15 draw.
That's I like that one. Absolutely.
And Coochie Coochie, which is not. I like Coochie Coochie, even though it's
the bonus track.
That's a fun track. I like that. Yep, absolutely. So speaking of your last listen, okay, we have talked about what we liked, what we don't like. So let's give our verdict here. So we've given this another listen. So what is our verdict? Do we think that it has aged well? It's now, what, 43 years after it came out? Can't believe 43 years later.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, Al. I didn't mean to, but we're just, we're giving it another listen some years later.
Exactly.
Had to say it because, we're giving it another chance. It's a long time, but it's so what do we think? Does it deserve another chance, or do we think it's that the critics got it right the first time? So Al, what do you think?
It has its moments. I mean, if I had to give it like a number, I'd give it about a 4 or 5. It's got its moments, but as far as like another chance, I think it had its moment, and its moment passed it by.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Tom, how about you?
Well, yeah, I have to agree. I didn't enjoy revisiting this album as much as I enjoyed revisiting Ringo the Fourth. I found myself really enjoying a few songs on Ringo the Fourth more than I enjoyed the songs on Bad Boy. So, yeah, I mean, I can agree that this probably the criticism that it got was probably deserved, and like Al, I would say probably 4 or 5 songs on here are good, and I don't think any better than that, but good.
Okay.
I don't think there's the magical moments on this album that he had on past albums.
Okay. All right, Joe.
Well, I think at the time, it was warranted in the day. And I think, as I say, for me, it's gotten better, and I enjoy hearing it now. And I enjoy 9 of the 10, pretty much. Not a great album at all, or one of his finest. But you know what? Doing what I do when I'm making videos, and you have so many comments, and you're talking to a lot of fans. A lot of times, I find that, for what it's worth, this is another one that's gaining a little in stature, kind of like some albums do. I think McCartney 2, for example,
right,
has got a better reception. Back to the Egg is coming up a little bit, and Ram, we know the story with Ram. I mean, what were they thinking back in, some people, in 1971?
Some people never know.
And by the way, this is a whole other show, but I understand it back then. I do. Why albums like, I was too young. I know Uncle Albert when I was 9. I loved Uncle Albert as a kid, but real quickly, I get that, if you're looking at the Beatles as a unit, and you're used to Long and Winding Road and Let It Be and all that kind of stuff, and then you're hearing like a disjointed, noodly McCartney thing and Ram, I could see why at the time people didn't grasp it so well. I think. But anyway, back to this album. Yeah. So a lot of people seem, from what I've encountered, not everyone, of course, some people just dismiss it because it's Ringo, and it's late 70s Ringo and that trilogy, right. 76, 77, and 78. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it, but does it deserve it anymore? Not as much. It doesn't deserve to be overpraised. Maybe I'm doing that. But I mean, if we were going to, Al was just giving it a number. If we were going to do out of 10, I don't know, 6 maybe I would give it right now. Maybe a 7 on a good day, but 6 probably out of 10, something like that.
Okay, all right, great. Yeah, I probably, I'd go with Al and say 4 or 5. Because I would say in a way I enjoyed revisiting Ringo the Fourth in terms of it was kind of a time capsule in a way, and this was, I mean, it just, to me, except for the few songs we talked about, it just didn't have that energy, and at least with Ringo the Fourth, as I said, you could kind of appreciate it for, as I said, the time capsule.
Just out of curiosity, play devil's advocate, what's the magical energy Ringo the Fourth tracks or
it's not, well, it's not like, maybe not magical energy, but it was just that it was like the disco period.
Yeah.
And you kind of appreciated it in sort of a campy kind of way. Maybe that's what I'm looking for.
I've been down one time.
I love that
Yeah,
song. Oh, I praise that song all day and all night. I love that track. That is delightfully bizarre.
I mean, that's what it is. It's just sort of campy, and you can kind of appreciate it on that level. And with this,
Although
You
Wings is a
know
good
that
song.
I depend on you.
I mean, like, you can kind of like, it's sort of entertaining on like that level in a
Right.
way, and you know, this is just like, yeah, it just doesn't grab you.
I think it's definitely a more upbeat production on those songs, in my opinion, on Ringo
Yeah.
the Fourth.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, I'm not claiming Ringo the Fourth is like his all-time best work. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Drowning in the Sea of Love was kind of, I mean, that was kind of interesting.
Right.
But yeah, so I would agree. I'd say probably 4 or 5. Like, this is not one I would go back to over and over. I mean, for sure. You know, so it was kind of just, you know, average for me. But you know, but that's interesting, Joe, that, you know, how, I mean, it over the years that it, you know, that it grew, and as you said, you know, I like that you said, you know, appreciating it for Ringo. I mean, you know,
Yeah, people say that's a cop out. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not doing it consciously.
No,
I just feel like I don't expect as much from Ringo. I don't mean that as a slight against him, although it comes out again like that. I just say, yeah, we have a good time. Is it interesting? What word do you use? Fun. I have a kind of good time with Ringo. Yeah, I do, and I do. Again, I have to emphasize, it's not going in my top Ringo albums.
Right.
This album.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we totally get it. I mean, yeah, you don't appreciate him on the same level as like Paul McCartney or George Harrison. I mean, you know, it's not to slam him. I mean, it's just, he's a different, you know, he's a different talent. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
what are people saying? Do you see any
so let's see.
comments?
Okay, so Wesley said, sorry, can't agree with any of you. Loved it then, love it now. Okay, that's
excellent.
That's great. That's why we do these shows, because we like to do this. Let's see. Okay, so Ed Rising, Stop and Smell the Roses, next Ringo album to review. Yeah, we'll get to that.
You really should.
Yeah, we should do that. We will get to that along the way. Fred Velez said, gave it all up. Sorry, is not bad. That's
from Ringo the Fourth.
Ringo the Fourth.
The song's all right. I don't know about the performance.
His voice was not great on that. Let's see. Susan Gagney. Hello, Susan.
Hey, Susan.
Great to see you again. Sorry to say, but Bad Boy is best relegated to the rock and roll history books. Okay.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Yep.
Oh.
And Susan, I saw your comment earlier praising my backdrop. Thank you very much. I actually was trying to use the Bad Boy cover as backdrop originally, but it looked like he was resting his drink on my head.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
So
there it
I'm
is.
like,
You see that?
Well, you know, I almost made a drink to do this show.
Yeah, I was thinking, and the cover, you know, I'm sure Ringo doesn't really like this cover. God bless him. He's been sober since 1988. Way to go, Ringo.
Yeah.
But look at that. I wanted to show that sticker. That's cool. It contains songs from the hit television special Ringo.
Yep.
Hit television special, huh?
It was a big hit. No, but it was. I love the special. I have.
You know, it's fun. It is such a product of its time. I mean, it was kind of fun to watch because it reminded me of of those 70s variety shows. Like,
look at all the people you had in there. You had Art Carney, John Ritter,
Gary Fisher,
Yep.
Vincent Price.
Oh, Vincent Price, of course.
Angie Dickinson.
Angie Dickinson.
I mean, it was great. I mean, you know, you don't see that anymore. I mean, it was just really, you know, fun stuff. Trying to, let's see here. Let's see. It stinks. Ringo's worst effort. Okay. Richard Kotwick has not aged well, sorry to say. Yeah, that's kind of what we
read more.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
Oh, Wesley Wennerstrom. Ringo should do a joint tour with Willie Nelson. I'd go see that. That'd be fun.
Done. Or should just have Willie Nelson part of his all-star band.
Oh, there you go. I would love that. Absolutely. Let's see. Chris Dahl says, so we still agree Bad Boy is still bad. Okay. Oh man, that's funny. But let's see here. Phil Battier, was it round about this time of Bad Boy that Ringo was designing all his glass furniture? Oh, I vaguely remember something.
I saw a video of that. I saw there was a video of him with somebody discussing that and showing this stuff.
Yeah. Said, or was it after when he had sobered up, or a bit before? I
don't remember when that was. I really don't. Might have been around the same time.
I think you need to be kind of under the influence to have glass furniture.
Yeah.
How about those glass things that you have on the floor for your chairs, office chairs, that people say are good? I don't know.
Oh, Fred Velez says Monkey See, not a good choice, and I'm a Monkeys fan.
Yeah,
I see what you did there, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ringo should try to do You Just May Be the One, Fred. What do you think?
There you go.
Could you see Ringo doing that?
Oh man.
Right, he could do a Michael Nesmith songbook album.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. So, but well, and and I mean, I hate to just pile on this album. I mean, it's
well, you're just finding the negatives. Maybe they're all on negatives.
No, I'm skimming. Well, unfortunately, there are a lot of them.
Somebody I know, I can't remember who in my viewers said it was his absolute number one favorite Ringo album, which even I couldn't go there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
The chorus, Tom Brennan says the chorus of Old Time Relovin' has been stuck in my head all weekend since listening to the album a few times. So, yeah, for me it's Bad Boy. I mean, my God. I mean, exactly.
No, I really like that song, that Tonight version, and I do like the promo film of him dancing and whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Candlin, our friend Candlin, Heart on My Sleeve is lovely. Don't you like that?
Yeah, it is. That's good. They used the right songs on it for the TV special, I think. They used Heart on My Sleeve.
Yep.
They used the rocker Hard Times.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And A Man Like Me that closed the show. I think that's a nice closing number.
Like so many mid-tempo rockers on an album, they end up sounding so much better when they're done live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
So if he would have toured for this album, maybe that could have helped the performance of this record a little bit.
Yeah. Because I thought, Who Needs a Heart? I thought that could have been great live.
Yeah, and that might arguably be. Would you say that's even closer to disco? We talked a little about that.
Yeah.
Who Needs a Heart? Be a little disco beat.
Yeah. I still think that should have been a single. John Tobacco said Vinnie Poncia was not a great producer. Ringo could have benefited with using Richard Perry again. This album does not sound inspired to me.
Yeah, well, he had won.
Go ahead.
He had wanted to use Richard Perry for the two Atlantic albums, and they said no. You have to use Arif Mardin. And
interesting. So yeah, so lots of great comments tonight. A lot of so a couple of defenders of Bad Boy, but
poor Ringo.
But no, we're not bashing Ringo, because we've done many pro Ringo
shows here.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And
I wish for me personally I could say more nicer things about this record.
Yeah. No, this is good. Let it all hang out. You can't love everything all the time.
No, exactly. Sure. As we are sometimes accused of doing.
Of. Well, you guys.
I'm sure when he gets back in 2 weeks, Ken will give a full defense of Bad Boy.
And I think there are some people out there that are going to say, well, because Ken Michaels wasn't there, that's why you trashed it.
Yeah.
That's not
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. I don't know, but yeah, but that's why we love these and other listen shows, because sometimes
Absolutely.
we have done these where we think, hey, I don't think that album did deserve the initial drubbing.
I think it deserved it then, not as much now. But I'd like to hear Ken's. I'm sorry that he couldn't have been here as well. I mean, Al was great, but we get to have Ken as well.
Yeah,
I'd like to know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next time maybe we'll before the show we'll have him give a little give a summary of what he thinks. Absolutely, but Al,
equal time.
Yeah, exactly. But Al, we loved having you on. This was
really
fun.
It's always a blast.
Oh, and of course we're going to have you back on in the near future.
It's our switch hitter.
Always love having you on.
Exactly.
Or no, I'm sorry, pinch hitter. Pinch hitter.
Pinch hitter. Right.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Pinch hitter.
Rusty Staub. New York reference.
La Grande Orange.
Exactly.
Oh, all right. Well, this has really been a great discussion tonight. Thank you all too for all your great comments. We're going to, go through them, and please keep them coming. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this replay on Facebook, let us know what you think. If you think we've been way too hard on Ringo, that's okay. Let us know. That's what these discussions are all about. So why don't we give the usual, let everybody know where they can find us and what we're up to. Before we get to that, just so I don't forget, you can find us on Facebook, of course, on our Facebook page. You can find us at talkmoretalk.com, on Twitter at talkmoretalk. One, that's the number one. You can email us at talkmoresolotalk@gmail.com. Please do. We'd love to hear your ideas, your feedback. And you can find us on YouTube. Please subscribe while you're there. Tell your friends. Tell everybody you know. We need to get those subscriber numbers up. We're getting close.
Close to 1,000.
Close to 1,000. So please keep those subscriber numbers up, and you can also find us on virtually any podcasting platform you can think of. We also want to give a shout out to Beatle Ed, who also runs this show and many of our own individual shows on Fab4 Radio. He's great. Thank you so much for all of your support.
Yay, Matt.
Yes, yay, Matt. Exactly. Just so thank you. All right. So Al, since you're our guest, why don't you go first? Where can people find you?
Okay. Well, I mean, most immediately, probably the easiest would be Facebook under Al Sussman, and I'm the old guy that puts out all that almanac-y stuff. And
it's interesting stuff.
And otherwise, I just did Hudson Ranny's podcast. What bad could happen with a 13-year-old interviewing a nearly 72-year-old? But actually it went very well. We kind of debuted his newest this 1882 game. Yeah, although he really needs to explain to the average person what the 1882 game is.
It's a great show, though. I saw it. It's a good show.
Yeah, and the current issue of Beatle Fan is out. The new issue should be out by about the end of June, right, Kit?
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, and because I have like a two-part kind of portrait of 1971, of the music of 1971, not just the Beatles, but overall. And actually, I'm just finishing up kind of a follow-up piece on 1976 as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and also I can sort of a scoop. you're probably aware that Bruce Spicer has done a series of albums, recent books on Beatles albums, right? Well, the next one will be out in at least the plan right now is it'll be out in October, and it's basically the same team that we've done the last 3 or 4 books. Bruce, myself, Bill King, Piers Hemmingson, and Frank Daniels. And this one will be on Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine, and the singles from that time that were not from the White Album sessions.
Okay,
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, so I don't think, if there is a Chicago Fest, I don't think the book will be ready for that for the the fest, hopefully, but most likely though it will be out in October because it's at the printer now.
Wow. Okay, so that's something to look forward to. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you, Al. All right. Okay. Joe, how about you? What are you up to?
Okay, folks, you can subscribe, please, to my YouTube channel, Mean Mr. Mayo. I have a show called Fab Gab, and we're going to be doing a show on this coming Sunday. I don't know when this is going to be posted up here. I don't know what the date of the Sunday is. It's going to be ranking the songs. What's the date? Sunday, what's today?
Today's
whatever, it's coming up.
The 13th.
None of us knows the date.
It'll be up the your show
Today's
will be up
D-Day.
the 13th.
Yeah, Sunday's the 13th.
Yep.
Oh wow, from June 6th to 13th. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a Fab Gap show, and I'm going to have a guest on this time, and it's going to be Tom Magnotti. He's going to make another return visit to rank, hopefully, if we can do it at all, the songs from our least favorite tracks to our most favorite tracks off Abbey Road, winding down the series with Beatles albums, before we do other stuff. And that's the biggest news I have there. I'm also trying to put movie reviews up there, which are not related to Beatles or music, but sometimes I have this idea I'm going to make the Mean Mr. Mayo channel kind of a pop culture thing where I put a little bit of everything. And I have another channel called Mayo's Movies, where it's all one word, Mayo's Movies. You can, if you like movies, you can go over there. But the traffic is not as big there, because my main channel is Mean Mr. Mayo. So anyway, I've been kind of dabbling in the idea of putting the reviews on the main Mean Mr. Mayo channel. So if you like movies, check that out too.
Cool. All right, that sounds like you were always keeping busy, but it sounds like
it's not easy with work.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. All right, Tom, you're always up to a lot of stuff. So
I don't know how I can get all this done, but we get it done because we love what we do and we're having fun with all this. And Al, again, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you. Thank you for.
It's been a pleasure hanging out with you folks.
Let's do it again. How about tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm really excited about this. We just recorded a brand new show yesterday with another newcomer in the Beatles podcasting world. Her name is Natalie Carnitas, and she hosts this wonderful new podcast called She Loves You, which is all about the women in the lives of the Beatles. So she's done shows on Cynthia Lennon. She's done a show on Jane Asher. Not Asher. Yeah, but Jane Asher. And she's, I think, just recorded a show on Pattie Boyd as well. So check that out. It's called She Loves You. And we just recorded a show. It's part 1 of a new series called Women and Wives. And it's just that. It's the women and wives in McCartney's life. So that was part 1, and that'll drop this Saturday. So really excited about that. You can find us everywhere, Paul McCartney, I'm sorry, Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast on YouTube channel. We're getting real close to 600 subscribers. So please check us out and subscribe to that. Like Kid said earlier, our Ranking the Track series is winding down. As of right now, the last episode will be the 17th, where we rank the tracks from McCartney 3, and we're going to have a bunch of Two Legs family members on there. We're going to have my original co-host David back on the show. Ethan, our art director, and Dylan Seavey, our music director. So it'll just be like a big, Two Legs family affair while we rank the tracks of McCartney 3. And yes, we're gonna continue the live thing going. We might take a week or two off, but we're going to be doing other kinds of things as well. Not just McCartney. We're going to probably span it to other music as well, just to, let everybody know that there's other music out there besides McCartney. So
There is?
You are a busy man, Tom, and don't forget that I'm going to be using you on my upcoming new plug movie review Siskel and Ebert type show.
That's right. Joe and I share a passion for movies as well, and I'm looking forward to discussing movies with him in the near future. Then I also was a guest on Hudson's show. I know. Nick, he was at it again a week ago. He did another article on McCartney with the overlooked tracks. He picked one track that he thought was overlooked on every track. Hudson and I just automatically disagreed with just about everything.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Sounds very interesting.
So Hudson and I, we the following day or a couple days later, we recorded a show where we put the tracks that we thought were overlooked, one on each track. So that was a lot of fun. So check that out. I know. And man, he's coming up. Just Ethan, and a lot of good young Natalia. She's young too. So a lot of great young listeners and fans of the Beatles out there. So the wheels keep turning. I mean, just because the next
wheels are turning at all times.
Yeah. The next generation is coming up, and that's a good thing.
Unfortunately, both Hudson and Ethan remind me a little bit too much of what I was like at that age. If you can imagine that.
I thought you were going to say, unfortunately, there's just becoming too many podcasts out there.
Well, that too. But also, actually, over the weekend, I saw you with Ken on Ken Michaels Radio doing the number 9 Dream
Ringo
game or thing.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
That was great. That was great. That was
thank
excellent.
you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to be doing that soon with them.
And I didn't promote that either, although it's going back a ways. On Ken Michaels Radio, I was on there, and we did the Fab Five, another new thing that he has devised. I was the first one to try this.
Right. So don't forget to also let's plug Ken Michaels. Let's give him a plug. Don't forget to check out Ken Michaels Radio on YouTube. That's his new YouTube channel where he's had all 4 of us on. He's had lots of people in the Beatles world, podcasters, musicians, authors. He did a really good one too with Alan Kozin. What was the Beatles peak?
Yes.
I really enjoyed that episode a lot. So please check that out, as well as things we said today on YouTube, which, as we all know, Al was a past co-host on that show, and we do miss you, Al. We do miss you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And what's Womack been up to? I mean, he's his new book should be coming out, I think, in July, right?
Yes.
With Krupa.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're going to get them on.
I'll be seeing him tomorrow night. In fact.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And perfect. Perfect segue.
Yes.
Thank you for doing
that.
Because yes, you're going to be seeing me too.
Right.
Tomorrow night. If you're watching this now or tomorrow, you'll be you can join Ken Womack and me June 8th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's Tuesday Night Record Club, and we're going to be doing Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys. I am really excited about this.
You guys can be excited all you want. That one is just...
All right, Tom.
You know
right
what?
There, buddy.
I'll tell you something. This album, it took me a while. It took me a while to fully appreciate it. It really did, and I get it now. I get it. I'm a cousin. I really do.
You kind of had to be there.
And so the first time I heard, I really did. First time I was kind of like, I don't know. now that I'm older and wiser, and I've listened to it a number of times, and
Oh, I'm
listen
not
to it with
wise.
headphones, and you listen to it with
We're not
headphones.
wise.
It
It's
is.
a joke.
That's a,
Hey, if they would have put Good Vibrations on there, make one hell of a 4-song EP.
yeah. Well, I mean, seriously though, you really got it. You know. So, well, tune in tomorrow night. It's tomorrow night at 7:30. It's free. All you have to do is register. I'll put the link. Actually, I've already put the link on our Talk More Talk page. We
cool.
are going to have a really great time going through this album. We'll talk about the Wrecking Crew, and I'll even tell you about a group that had a huge influence on Brian Wilson and his vocal arrangements. You probably know who it is, Al, but I'm going to be talking a bit, talking about
the Beatles,
them.
exactly.
The Beatles, yeah, no, it goes a little for them. So, so do check that out. As I said, it's absolutely free. We are going to have such a great time. Also free, July 7th, I'm going to be giving a free lecture at the, well, it's through the Avalon Free Public Library in New Jersey, but it's on Zoom. So you can attend it. It's Motown in the 70s.
July the 7th. That rings a bell.
Yep, that's right. Exactly. And so July the 7th, you can register. I'll put that link on our page as well. And tomorrow, talking about Hudson, I'm going to be recording a show with him. I'm going to be appearing on I Know, talking about my book. And so that episode should go up in a couple of days. As soon as I know when it's going up, I will post that as well. And of course, you can always follow.
There's nothing wrong appearing on the second best solo Beatles podcast.
I know. Yes. Sure. That's right. So, yep. So we're going to be talking about my book, Songs We're Singing. I will post that, the link as soon as it goes up. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook and my site, kiddotool.com, and all that stuff. So I think that's, and Beatle fan, that the issue that Al mentioned is coming out soon. And I have an article in there about Motown and the Beatles and where they cross. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I'm very excited about this article.
Little Bit of Liverpool. Remember that
Little
album?
Bit of Liverpool, exactly. So really looking forward to having that article run. I put a lot of work into it, and it was fun to write. So anyway, Al, thank you again.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
This was really a blast.
Lot of fun.
It really, and we are going to, as I said, I know you're going to be back on soon.
We're sending you back down to AAA, but don't worry, you'll be back up in the big leagues soon, my friend.
I'll hope so. I'll have to get some extra batting practice in.
There you go. And thank all of you for joining us. So for Tom Hunyadi, Joe Mayo, and Al Sussman, this is Cool Kid O'Toole saying and Cool Kid O'Toole.
Cool Kid O'Toole.
I'll just say that.
That's your new handle.
That's my new nickname. It's late.
And it'll be K-O-O-L.
Yeah, K-O-O-L.
Kiddo Cool.
Kiddo Cool. Oh my God. This is Kid O'Toole saying tonight, wear your heart on your sleeve. Good night, everybody.
I always do. So long, folks.